The show went long into the night here last night as well with the presets. Lime Cordial on stage and plenty of things to see and do around the precinct, including the autograph session that's over in that area right now. Once upon a time used to be a horse racing course out in that part of the world. Different kind of horsepower here today. The stars are signing some autographs, big queue of people. We're inside 90 minutes to the final practice session. And an interesting practice session this one today with 10 drivers still keen to get some form for the Armour All Top 10 shootout coming up later today. And how about this for a little slice of history? There's Betty Klemenko on the right-hand side. And a little chance here for Erebus to do their own personal tribute to Holden. Have a look at the badge on the front of that car. And Supercars fans will know that, Craig Lowndes, that's usually the Erebus E at the front of that car.
Absolutely. Good morning everyone out there. It's yeah, look, it's nice to send off the Holden badge in the right way. There's a bit of smoke, not sure.
Never a good thing when you're sitting on the grid.
Is that the Bentley?
The Bentley did have some issues yesterday. I think that might be Matty Belford's car breathing a little bit heavy on the start there. I'm no mechanic, but that doesn't look too good.
That doesn't look good at all. It could be a turbo. They are a V8 twin-turbo configured engine. That doesn't look good at all. Is that the James Bond smokemobile?
Yeah, if it was an Aston Martin, I'd agree. Well, it's feeling a little better now that it's got itself going. That car did have some issues yesterday and ultimately retired from the race. We saw it struggling to get off the pit lane limiter at one point as well. So away we go. 40 minutes, race 2. Now, if you were watching the action yesterday, my goodness me, the two Audi factory boys, didn't they put on a bit of a show? This guy, Christopher Mies, they fairly threw down. Gloves are off, him and Vanderlinde for the win yesterday, Craig. That was just exceptional stuff. Mies got the win over Vanderlinde. Vanderlinde gets the pole here because it's off their qualifying time. So one's got a pole and one's got a race win. And this is round 3 now, mate.
It will be. It was quite amazing. It was a great closing stages. Calvin definitely had the speed over Christopher Mies, especially under brakes into turn 9. But both of them being factory Audi drivers, they didn't want to go home knowing that they were the second best Audi factory driver.
Slightly competitive. Good news, Jamie Whincup is in car 88. They were able to get that fixed up. We'll update you as to what the issue was there, why they didn't make it to the checkered flag. Brett Hobson's out there to watch out for one of those beautiful Bentleys. Fraser Ross now in that championship fight right now. Second in the points with Liam Talbot. They've got some work to do here to try and claw their way back through the pack. Nice field of cars, plenty of variety out there. Paul Stokel off the back because unfortunately the Higgin car was in the fence in qualifying 1, so they didn't get a lap in that second qualifying session, which is why he's off the back. So championship picture right now. Yasser Shahin leads the way. He's sharing with Christopher Mies on the front row. They won yesterday's race. They can wrap up the championship in this race. We'll try and keep you up to date with how that works out throughout the course of this one. But he must be a nervous man sitting in pit lane watching these two Audi boys go at it right now.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be quite exciting. And I wouldn't be surprised at the start of this. It's a rolling start with this category. There's the BP Ultimate safety car going away. Now they're forming up. There's going to be a little bit of gamemanship between these two because they do this quite a lot in Europe. So they're going to know each other's tactics. So you can see there Christopher on the right. As he comes down, he'll be on the left-hand side of the racetrack. He's got his nose in front at the moment. Sorry, that's Calvin.
Yep.
Christopher Mies is in the bend. So this is going to be interesting. So there it is. Gamesmanship already.
About your grid box.
Watch out. The two Audi R8s on the front row. Anything could happen here. Round 1 yesterday was delightful to watch from where we were sitting. Will delight turn to spike today between the two Audi boys. Advantage, Vanderlinde, the pole sitter, through the centre chicane. Oh, trouble in the background, 2 around, hard into the fence, multiple cars involved. It's the Bentley, we saw it breathing heavily on the grid. Matt Belford at the wheel, and that has gone hard into the fence at turn 3. Tough weekend for the two Bentleys. We go behind the BP Ultimate safety car nice and early in this one. And that was a big hit. Matt's only fairly new to motor racing, a year of Sprint Challenge and then a year of Carrera Cup this year. First outing in GT racing. We got through yesterday in that part of the world without too many dramas in the race, at least. We saw qualifying was quite tricky. Even Jamie Whincup came unstuck there. That was a classic lap 1 incident down there, Craig.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to see a replay of that because there was another car that was involved in the sense of spinning, so I'm not sure whether they had contact or whether it was just a cold tyre issue, because you've got to remember that they've come out, they've done a full complete lap. See if this angle can give us a better description.
The 2 cars side by side over the curb. Watching the background, right under the OTR bridge.
Yeah, the Audi and the Bentley were side by side, but I'm not sure, again, can't quite tell if there was contact. The Audi looks like it's got away with it, thankfully, but unfortunately that Bentley is heavily damaged in the front.
We don't like seeing beautiful cars of this nature go into the wall like that. Saw it yesterday in qualifying. Prince Jeffrey had that nasty spill. And another one here. So lap 1 safety car. Vanderlinde got the nod off the start. Vanderlinde needs Will up the top 3.
Come up now, mate. So as much energy as we can keep putting into them, please.
You just heard in the background there the radio comms to one of the drivers. The tyres are starting to come up to temperature. You can see all the debris. And these cars, as you mentioned, Chad, they've got a lot of carbon on them. So all that carbon debris that's now sitting on the racetrack, other drivers now got to be very mindful that they don't run over it and get a flat tyre.
Fair old queue for the autographs down there. You'd expect nothing less. Good crowd down there to meet the drivers, the stars. And a good opportunity to get a program sign. In this case, a helmet. I had one of those as a kid. The left side of the helmet was blue, the right side was red, and I had it signed by the entire Supercars field. I reckon I would have been about 10 years old.
You've still got it?
I still remember getting Crompo's autograph on that in the car park at Wanneroo when I was a kid.
Crompton was happily signing away back then.
Yep.
But that's all that debris you can see there on the right-hand side of your screen there, all that carbon that you've got to be very careful of. They're trying to blow it off, as well as they're retrieving that, unfortunately, heavily damaged Bentley. So again, I'm not sure whether it was contact between the Bentley and the Audi, but unfortunately, yeah, the Audi, as you mentioned, have struggled this weekend. You saw it on the start line. There was a lot of blue smoke coming out, which generally almost like a blown turbo, or whether it just had a bit of oil sitting in the turbo. It just needed to clear up as it got going. There you can see Christopher Mears looking down on the dash. Now, what do you be looking at on the dash and in these cars? You can scroll through the pages and the screen on the display, and they come up with a tyre pressure. Not a temperature, but a pressure. So again, these guys will know very clearly where that operating window is for these cars, especially coming from Europe. They're run a Pirelli tyre, so he'll be trying to maximise every inch of that racetrack to try and generate some tyre temp. You can see them waving away. You can see himself on the big screen, but just trying to maintain that tyre temp as well as brake temp. That's going to be really critical, especially on the restart of this, is to be able to get away. And Calvin will definitely be knowing and playing some games as well, because again, they are so in tune with each other. They do a lot of racing overseas. And Calvin got a great start. He was playing a little bit of tic-tac-toe there, going a little bit front, but he got away really nicely. You can see there, they all filing into this first chicane nicely. Whether you can see there's Mercedes having a little bounce through. Jamie just trying to stick the nose up in there, and it's great to see the 88 Mercedes back out running around.
So just watching the background here. There goes a Merc, high and dry over the curbs. That's all fairly standard on lap 1. But yeah, watch in the background, KFC Audi versus the Bentley here. They were side by side. That was the pinch point right there.
Looks like the KFC Audi actually hit the curb, the inside curb, which whether that's bounced it across into the side of the Bentley. Definitely, I think there was some contact, and then that overcorrection with that Bentley.
He nearly caught it, didn't he?
He almost got it.
Almost had it, unfortunately, for Matty Belford. That car hard into the fence, and that beautiful Bentley has had a tough weekend. Not sure we'll see that back for tomorrow. Okay, well, we saw the awesome images down there, Rihanna. What's the latest?
Yeah, good morning, Chad. And as we farewell Holden this weekend, it's going to be a very emotional couple of days we have ahead. Betty Klemenko, Erebus Motorsport team owner, you guys have just changed the badge on the front of the car. Tell us why you did this weekend.
Oh, we did it out of respect. I mean, we started, after we left Merckx, we started in the Holden with the Holden badge, and it's just right, and to end it like that. But we'll see what tomorrow brings. It'll be the last time we can put any badge on there except for the Chevrolet, which I actually like. So, look, it's a part of my soul, the Holden, so let's see it out properly.
Is this a really emotional weekend for you? Holden's been in your family and part of your DNA for a very long time. It must be emotional for you as well.
Oh, it is. I mean, my father loved the Holdens, and which is very apt because Monday he'll have passed away for 25 years. So I'm looking at it like a homage to him and say, I remember what you and Sir Frederick used to get up to. So, you know what? I think it looks at home.
And just give us a bit of a summary of the season so far for Will Brown and Brodie Kostecki. I mean, how do you see it?
You can see that there's a little bit of rookie left in there because sometimes they're brilliant and sometimes you just want to hit them on the head. But they're doing well. Next year they're going to step into the big shoes of Erebus, and there's no excuses next year.
It's always great to see you, Betty. Thanks so much.
Absolute pleasure.
That was great. The flies are giving us some grief as well. That's been the case. G'day, Betty. Always honest. Always a very honest lady is Betty Clemenco.
I reckon if you spoke to most of the team owners or managers, that they'll be having the same problems with drivers. Sometimes they're good. Sometimes I want to hit them over the head.
Such a good grab. There's a little bit of rookie in them. Sometimes they're great. Sometimes I want to hit them over the head. That's just the perfect team boss grab right there. Tom Randall signing some autographs. He'll be in the shootout later today. He's had a lot of speed. There are the two Erebus boys in the middle. They'll be sporting Holden badges on their cars this weekend. Will Brown, he's driven up through the Holden ranks in the Dunlop Series before. Brodie Kostecki drove both Ford and Holden in the Dunlop Series, and now Holden in the main game.
And Brodie's been doing a lot of the Gen 3 running in the Camaro this weekend, so it's been good to actually have a current driver drive the future of what we're going to be seeing next year and get a feedback on, in the sense of what they're currently running to what they will be running. The ergonomics, the way the car feels, and around a track like this where you obviously use a lot of curbs, turn 8, very fast, but then of course down this section through the staircase, it's all tight and twisty, second gear. So it's great to see and have Brodie involved in that program. Cam Waters has been running in the Mustang, so again, getting a good feel and a sense of where the future's running.
Yeah, Supercars handpicked those two drivers for this weekend here. And you get the feeling they've picked two very robust drivers to really give a good shakedown for the Gen 3 cars around a brutal circuit as well here in Adelaide. So one last final big hit for the Gen 3 cars. And you've had that directive from Supercars yourself, Craig. Drive it as hard as you can, please. We need to know the weak points.
Absolutely. We did a lot of running last year with the Chev engine, and that was basically the word is rev it hard, push it hard. We want to see what breaks first and make sure that we then obviously can repair it. And touch wood, it actually hasn't. The interesting thing going into the future, and if we got a chance to quickly talk, the car of the future, it's a fly-by-wire. So we're going into that new generation. So these guys currently run a throttle cable, but going into the future, it's going to be a fly-by-wire. So getting all that to work, fly-by-wire to talk to the butterfly, get the butterfly to talk to the engine management. Those three elements had to work in sync. So getting all that into working was really interesting.
We're lined up here, and looks like we're going back to green flag conditions. We're about 3 minutes away from that pit stop window opening. But with the pro drivers in there, you want to run long into the window here. Let your pro drivers do as much of the running as you can. But what this safety car period does is bring guys like car 65, Fraser Ross, who's not going to lose so much time in his stint up against the big Audi names, give Liam Talbot more of a chance of staying in the fight. But as it stands, Yasser Shahin, as they sit on the road, will be building up enough of a points gap to be crowned champions tomorrow on home soil as we get back into it. We could have two South Aussies crowned as national champions at the one South Aussie event this weekend.
This will be interesting to see whether Jamie can actually now hold the two Audis in front. Then you've got the big Bentley behind him in Hobson. So it's great to see Audi, Mercedes, Bentley.
I think it was Garth Walden. One of these cars had a monster moment through the centre chicane then, and they all queued up as a result. Maybe it was the Polakis 101 Mercedes. How about this little scrap that's going on? And Fraser Ross needs to really clear these cars. He's in that championship fight with Liam Talbot. So Liam's sitting in the pits, egging Fraser on to clear these two AMGs. Very important for that Shannon's Insurance Audi to get clear here. Needs to turn on the aggression. The championship to play for.
And then what you'll see as the rotation of the pit stops go by, it goes by where you qualify and also the time difference, whether you sit longer than others. So you're right, Fraser Ross has got a shorter pit window when he does come in for Liam Talbot to jump in, but of course he's losing a lot of time at the moment, stuck behind these two Mercedes.
His pit stop will be 3 seconds shorter than the race leader. Still a little bit of debris out there, thankfully just off the racing line. But he's already losing time on this first lap. He's 8 seconds behind the leader already.
How's Calvin's first opening lap of 1 minute 19.1? Tyres are still coming up to temp, brakes are still coming up to temp, but he is on fire, and he's been really quick since he's landed and been running around the streets of Adelaide.
Did set the lap record yesterday, 1:18.2. Here it comes. 3 wide down at turn 4 for a moment, maybe. He'll get one here. Fraser Ross following through with Garth Walden. Just had to choose which line to take there. Chose to follow the big Merc through. That's one done.
I think Walden actually realised what Fraser Ross was trying to do. So he centred up the inside and also at the same time blocked Fraser Ross. So he did a really good job. And this is where the interesting thing, and again, I'm curious and love this category, that Mercedes front engine, Audi mid to rear engine. So where they get their balance and performance is a little bit different. So the Audi's got a lot of mid to high range power, where then the Mercedes got a lot of torque. So coming out of turn 9, Mark Sini under attack.
Nicely done.
Paul Stokely doing a nice job from the back of the field, and as you mentioned, had to start from the rear because after qualifying 1, unfortunately that Audi was involved in an incident coming out of the first chicane. Sounded like someone was almost having an own moment, but Paul Stokely there doing a great job carving back through the field.
Now pit stop window is open now, and Sini will take that opportunity. He doesn't do a driver change, so they can really go at any point in the window that they want to.
Well, that works really well, because what they can do, and there's another one coming in behind him, what they can do is come into the pits, they can repressure the tyres, service the car in a sense of that way, and then getting back out on track. He's now sort of had a number of laps to get himself into a rhythm.
It's Michael Kokonos in the background, who sits second in the GT Trophy Championship for older model GT3 cars. This is one of the newer spec Audis. Glorious things that they are. Yasser Shahin is standing by and ready.
And we saw yesterday, Yasser actually did more laps than anyone in the Pro-Am driver section. He did like another 3 or 4 laps. There's Liam.
Right, Liam, he's ready to go. So that's first and second in the championship, eyeballing each other in pit lane before they get in their race cars. Lousy has a little moment next to me.
I just saw the exit of Christopher Mears out of turn 11. It was so close to that right-hand wall. Just before the concrete wall is that tyre bundle, which has actually caught a couple of cars.
Well, they caught him out yesterday.
They caught him out yesterday,
yeah.
So he's so close to that tyre bundle.
G. Vanderlyn is quick. 17s. That's the first ever 17 around here in a GT3. That is a big lap. 1:17.8. As he scorches the Adelaide Parkland circuit in this nice, cool conditions. New lap record. Mies went under yesterday's lap record too, but that was not a 1:17.
It's a great sounding Bentley, twin turbo V8, front engine, British built, so which also is the only one that is right-hand drive. The rest of the Audis, the Mercedes, they're all left-hand drive. So it is quite unnerving. You mentioned with Jamie Whincup, had so much experience and history around here in a supercar, sitting on the opposite side of the car. So your muscle memory of where to position the car, how to go through turn 8, turn 9 where they are right now. Sitting on the opposite side of the Mercedes, he's got to be very careful and think about what he's doing.
This is the moment. Down at turns 10 and 11. That was okay for Vanderlinde, but this one, whew, yeah, that's close. How close? Oh, that close. No problem. That's what you do when you're a professional race car driver. Now, what lap times do we get here, Craig? Mies might get into the 17s. Yep, 17.8. He misses the lap record by 0.07 of a second. A little fight between these two to see who can take the lap record back to Europe with them.
Bit of pride. Now, just looking through their pit stop time, whether these two actually have to be stationary for the same amount.
Yeah, it's a 3-second difference.
3-second difference. This is why Calvin is pushing hard to make that 3-second up. So when he puts Yasser in, Liam doesn't, Yasser doesn't go out in front of Bates when they do their rotation.
Well, it's the way it sits right now, Bates will be first on the road ahead of Shahin, and Shahin's had the speed over Bates this weekend, so that'll make for a pretty interesting fight. We could see the two Am boys scrapping it out, but Shahin doesn't need to win this race to win the championship, so he may choose to be a little bit more conservative. Pit stops continuing through the window, which is still open for another 3 to 4 minutes here. So he might get another couple laps out. There's Mies potentially on to break that lap record again here. Porsche Cup car versus older model GT3. Classic look with the yellow headlights, very Nürburgring.
Paul Stokel making his way definitely through the crowd at the moment.
Yeah, Theo Condouris.
Make another position.
Yep, in the Superbarn Audi.
Looks like Fraser Ross now has got past Holden.
Van der Linde goes 17.4 on that last lap. He just did a 17.6.
Yeah, they both improved their lap time.
They're one-upping each other lap after lap.
The gap at 1.8 at the front between these two, 1.9 now. There's Paul Stokel making the move.
Nice move.
Down into turn 9.
Good driving from Condouris to leave the door ajar. Nicely done, nicely executed. Condouris is in. Tick-tock.
Then we mentioned yesterday that time, obviously, stationary in the pit lane gives every team enough time to be able to do exactly that. Put the seat insert in, comfortably get the driver in, help the driver aid, make sure they're all buckled up. And the primary thing is make sure the radio's working. So everyone's got a little bit more time just to do that, go through their process, make sure everything's all good.
Back to that fight for the lead. We're going to get another lap record here from Van der Linde. Not quite. Only a 17.5 this time.
His last sector didn't quite get it done.
17.5 versus 17.6 from Mies. These two are just playing tennis with the timing screen right now.
And they've got basically a 9-second gap over Jamie Whincup.
And it's 2 seconds between them. So that magical 3-second number not quite there for Van der Linde. How far are they willing to push, missing the window as well? That extra lap could be the difference in getting the overcut. But if you go too long and miss the pit stop window, you'll get in big trouble for that.
You can see how much wheel work Christopher Mies. Turn 8 here. Have a listen. They said almost flat. Like, it's amazing how much downforce these cars generate. Back to first gear. Getting it in. Hard on the throttle, using all that traction control and the ABS that these cars do have. Nicely in. Oh, he's so close to that wall on the right-hand side.
These two are putting on an absolute show. Pit stop time. Oh, he misses it! No, he bowls it wide. And he slips straight off the road. And that could be something that he feels the wrath of race control for. He'll go for one more lap. I wonder if it was a late call.
No, that was just a mistake. He
overcooked it.
He overcooked the entry. And don't forget, yesterday, because they didn't have to do this part, they didn't have to attack pit entry. They just had to get to the checkered flag. So maybe they just caught him out, realising how narrow that right-hand turn is once you get into pit entry.
Very good point. There is really no practice for diving into the pits. Earlier in the weekend, caught him out.
Jamie Whincup's gone around. Hobson, Fraser Ross has gone around. So this could be a...
There still is time to get in here. The window should be open at the 25-minute mark.
Well, Calvin's gone around as well. So that's a mistake. He's now... Watch this. He's definitely made the approach. Tried to do the right hand and realised he was never going to stop the car.
Wow.
So now it's blown out to a 5-second gap between Calvin and Christopher Mies.
Well, that'll be Bates to the lead of the race then after the pit stops, courtesy of that moment right there. Here it is again. Best seat in the house. Yeah. Pull it up, pull it up, pull it up. Oh, then the bump and the clang.
You don't want to be the under tray of an Audi when you're going over that curve.
No, Sini with the full send. But unfortunately couldn't quite get that one pulled up down at turn 9. Now Mies is in, Van der Linde and Whincup going again. There still is time to get to the end of the pit stop window here. It should close at 25 minutes, but you wouldn't want to test it too far.
Fraser Ross has gone around.
So they're all getting one more lap in here. Mies had just been about perfect until that point.
He'll be dirty on himself because he knows that he was in a good position to put Yasser in the car and get out. And we know how quick Yasser is.
Yeah. Well, the to and fro of how quick they'd been, a little 10th there, a little 10th here, and then just threw him 3 seconds like that.
Well, it just shows how quickly it all changes.
In terms of the rule book, if you miss the pit entrance and go again, are you actually breaking any rule by going over the chevron or anything like that?
I don't think, because you're already disadvantaging yourself by going out back on track. As you mentioned, you lost 3 seconds.
It's only if you actually pit.
If you're late and you cross back over, then it's a definitely penalty.
Bates on the left, Talbot on the right. And it's really working in Tony Bates' favour here. He was excellent here in Carrera Cup, Tony Bates. Went a number of years where he couldn't be beaten. So he'd be tough to beat from this position now. There's Van der Linde pits, Wing Cup pits. Fraser Ross goes again, or is he going to dive in the background, waiting for a... Surely he's not going for one more lap. No, not yet, he hasn't. He pits as well, yeah. That would have been brave, trying to get one more lap in here before the 25-minute mark and the window closed. So they're all good, they're all in the window. Catch this. There goes the seat insert. Van der Linde, who's well adapted at plugging in race car drivers.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is going to hurt Liam Talbot and Fraser Ross, because he had to go around the other Audi before he got into his pit base, so that would have lost a little bit more time there as well. So Yasser now rejoins the circuit. He's got to get around as fast as he can.
A whole lap here to try and get around and into the lead of this race. I'll be surprised if the 24 doesn't come out ahead of the 1 here.
Give me a nod if you can hear me on the
Ibrahim.
There's the Prince, getting strapped in. You can just hear in the background there, just the radio check, just giving you a nod, because you're so busy putting your belts on, getting everything sorted, your helmet air in. It's generally just the car controller just says, give me a nod or a thumbs up, just to make sure that the driver in the car can hear, and you can hear him now in the background, just giving him all directions of what he needs to do, how much time he's got left. Liam Talbot now in the Shannon's Audi.
Well, the guy that this may help is Talbot in that championship fight. They've got a 6 second shorter pit stop than car 1 on the left-hand side. First and second in the championship right there. If Shaheen finishes ahead of that Shannon's Insurance Audi, he's the champion in this race with a race to spare.
It's going to be tight. And as a driver, you're sitting in the car just going, come on. Come on.
Hop's giving a jump. Oh, there's traffic as well with the GT4. Get it going, get it going.
And he's not far from the pit exit. There he is. There's the control line.
Can he keep this championship alive? 14 minutes to go. He's out and he's clear. So the mistake from me is that's the price right there that they've paid.
But don't underestimate Yasser Sheehan. He does a lot of miles out at the bend, and he's a very quick operator as a Pro-Am driver.
Indeed he is. There's a little bit of traffic here as well. This was tight. All that waiting. Oh boy, that was close. Bit of communication.
And it's hard as a driver because you've got limited sort of side mirrors and looking back, especially in cars like these. So car control are very important to make sure that you feed the driver out into the fast lane as best you can. And it's like, go, stop, go, stop, go, stop, go, go, go.
And once this all washes out at the end of this lap, we'll be able to tell you exactly where everybody sits on the timing screen. I'm waiting to get an official number because it says at the moment 26 seconds between Bates and Shaheen, but that can't be right. We'll wait for the next split times to show up, and then we'll get a proper number maybe at the control line here as they work through the pit stop cycle. Time by, we'll get more of an idea.
Now the timing says Bates.
Well, timing's still got Fraser Ross's car in the pits. Obviously that's not true because I'm looking at it. So there might be a little timing issue here as well as the screen wigs out a little bit here. We'll let it all sort itself out. We'll call what we can see through the pictures first.
You can definitely see that Liam Talbot now is clearly in front of Yasser Sheehan. You can see him there, the attitude coming out of turn 5, that's turn 6, hard up against that wall. Again, turn 7, use all that curb. You can see the concrete barrier there. That's your track limits. And again, using the aero of this category, there's Yasser Sheehan in the foreground. Quick turn 8. Then the run down to the slowest corner of the track, turn 9, hard on the brakes, use the ABS. You can see that little bump between the different bitumen surface, back to first gear, and then again using the traction control to get out of it. There's the Bates car running around.
All right, so let's just work this out then. So here's your race leader with a couple of lappers. whipping down into turn 1. Second is the 88. This is the Mercedes coming down the front straight now.
So they've had a great transition through pit lane.
Yep, that's worked nicely for them. Third on the road, we'll wait for Liam Talbot to show up. Here he comes in the background in the Shannon's Insurance Audi. Here he is. Now they're 18 seconds off the pace, and Yasser Shahin is 24 seconds off the lead. I'm struggling to figure out how it became 24 seconds.
And the difference
they had a 3-second longer pit stop, and they lost 3 seconds by running off the road. Where did the extra 18 seconds come from?
Good question you have.
Yeah. They've lost a chunk of time somewhere. Did they sit in pit lane too long?
That's the only possible reasoning that they could have, actually sat in the lane for too long. And it's 5 seconds between Liam Talbot and Yasser Shahin. So this is going to be an interesting battle, whether Yasser can now close the gap to Liam Talbot.
Well, see if we get an answer on that one for you. But it's worked out beautifully for Liam Talbot, trying to keep this championship fight alive, going into the last race of the weekend.
And it's great for Bates at the moment, leading this race, slowly opening up the gap. So I'm just looking for the final lap time. At 1:22 he's doing. So there's a little bit of a difference between Calvin Van der Linde and Bates, but Bates at the moment has got a 6.4 second gap back to the Prince in second in the 88 Mercedes. Nicely done. Just under 10 minutes to go remaining in this race. And again, the beauty about these cars, I talk about the technology and the assistance with the traction control, the AWS. You can hear the tyres screeching, but on the dash you can see where the tyres are in the sense of the pressures, or the pressures, sorry, not the temperature. So it's as a driver, all that information is very valuable to obviously get through these 40 minutes. You can see there's the Prince coming down. It's turn 8. So that's what 6.2 seconds looks like. And then another 9 seconds back here to Liam Talbot. And he's actually opening up the gap between himself and Yasser. There's Yasser there coming into frame. So at the moment, Liam is actually circling around a bit faster than what Yasser is.
He is. Now, as it stands, Craig, there's a 19-point gap between Shahin and Talbot in the championship. The magic number is 17. So he's got enough at the moment, unless Talbot can catch Ibrahim. And at the moment, he's reeling him in. He was a second quicker in Sector 1 alone on this lap. There's a fair old margin to make up between Shahin and Talbot, but it's the Talbot and Ibrahim battle that's probably worth watching here as Talbot goes working his way through the traffic. He's got about the entire front straight to make up in 8.5 minutes to do it.
Yeah, but I just think you just noticed the Prince going by. He's got some lap traffic, so that's going to hinder him and that time by now. So yes, so the Prince did a 21.6. Liam did a 20.2. So it was over a second in difference in lap time. So if he can maintain that, there's all good chances that he can get to him and pass him.
Let's get down to Rihanna.
Yeah, Chad, to answer your question with Yasser Shahin, they actually received a 10-second time penalty in pit lane due to crossing the blend line when Christopher Mees was coming into pit lane. So they had to hold an extra 10 seconds after their pit stop because of that penalty.
Excellent. Thank you, Rihanna. That answers my question. So a 10-second penalty for car 1 for crossing that blend line, which does make a lot of sense. We asked the question, would they feel the wrath of race control? The answer was yes.
That's why I'm not as race controller as a steward. I thought that they penalised themselves by going out.
You're too happy to be in race control calling penalties in people, mate. You'd be like, you know what, guys, it's fine.
Yeah, that's all good.
Yeah.
Well, then, Yasser will be very keen to maintain that 4th position.
Indeed, he will. Now, here's the funny bit. If Talbot can catch Ibrahim, he gets an extra 2 points on that championship, and that will make the magic number 17 exactly on it. So they'll be potentially in a position where they can keep that championship alive for the last race. He'll get it to 17 points. The gap, what's it down to? 5.7 seconds. Last time by, he was 3 seconds quicker. Talbot is on a charge, and he's reeling in that Mercedes. Here comes Liam Talbot, trying to fight to keep this championship alive. 7 minutes to go.
And a 5.3 second gap that he needs to chase down. So this is going to be interesting. You can see the attitude. He's hard on the throttle. A little bit bumpy through that section. Turn 6, using all the curb. Turn 9, and he'll be getting radio calls every lap from the crew, encouraging him. There you go, flashing the lights. Get out of my way, I'm coming through.
He's 1.5 seconds quicker to Sector 1. It's not a matter of if but when here for Liam Talbot. He is going to catch that Mercedes. He's on a charge, and that'll be why, because there was big traffic in that first sector. It's all going to come down to who can weave their way through the lappers.
3.9 gap now. So you're right, he's got the angry eyes on.
Liam Talbot is coming in an absolute rush here to catch the back of the Prince's Merc, but he now has to get through the lap traffic himself. It's all about when you catch these lappers, at what part of the track do you get them.
I reckon he's got a good positioning here. You get off this last corner, he should be able to get past these two up into before turn 4, as long as they're nice and like they're aware of what's going on behind them.
There's your race leader, so Bates is comfortable, 7.5 seconds clear of Ibrahim. Last time by, he did a 22.6, 22.2 for Ibrahim, 19.8 for Talbot. The gap down to 2.4 seconds. So Bates doing a nice job.
He looks like he's in easy cruise mode.
And I know Bates has probably got a little bit up the sleeve here, but on current speed, Talbot's going to catch the race leader, never mind second.
I think he might run out of time. 5 minutes ago. There you go. There's Ibrahim, and there it is. There's Liam. Now get out of my way. And they have. Oh. Nicely done.
That was a good heads-up driving from the Bentley there. To know that this Audi is arriving in a hurry, and he's taking no prisoners here, Liam Talbot.
Now, he lost a little bit of time in the sector 2 there, 2/10, but he made up a huge amount of time in sector 1, so he's still faster overall than Ibrahim, and so this is where it's going to be out. There it is. Look how quickly it's closing down. So now it's only down to a 2-second gap.
You'll need some pretty big traffic to try and catch the race leader, but it's been an awesome drive to catch second. He's not letting off yet.
Doesn't want to make any mistakes at the moment, Liam.
4.5 minutes to go. Plenty of time to work on keeping this championship alive.
He's quick through that chicane. He's using every inch of it. Used the first and the second curve, and you can see right now. So he's got the speed. It's just a matter of where he can get the pass done, and I reckon it's going to be down to turn 9.
Has he got the patience to wait that long? Through the staircase we climb. Surprise move at 5.
No.
He's through here.
Blocked. Again, if you get off here, he's got a good run. Really good run. The overlap's already started. It's just whether he can get it done before turn 8.
And the Prince rolls out of it, or does he? No. On the defensive side of it. Can Talbot continue it down towards turn 9? This is for second to keep the championship alive. Talbot commits. Can he get far enough up the inside? Not quite. Nearly. Traffic as well to think about here. Will they come unstuck? The KFC Audi just rolls out of it for a moment, lets them through. Blue flags waving for the traffic.
Liam got a great run out of turn 10 there. Couldn't quite get it done. And this is where the lap traffic is really, could be advantage or disadvantage. Run wide.
And Talbot gets an excellent exit here.
Good job, mate. Eyes forward. Focus on braking at 1. 2 to go.
They were slow on that last lap, so the lead is now 12 seconds and he's through.
Liam sent it in.
Great move, Liam Talbot.
Yeah, mate. Go with him. Go with him. Your pace is good. Let's follow him.
He chased and chased and chased, and he got his man. Championship still alive. They're even on the 17-point margin now.
I was just having a quick look to see how far Yasser Shahin was behind Ibrahim, and it's a 5.2 gap. So with 2.5 minutes to go, which is probably a lap, maybe 2 laps in most, I don't think Yasser's going to have the time now to catch and get that 19-point gap. There it is, Liam Talbot sending it straight in down into turn 1. Hits the first there it is, hits the first cone. Nicely done. Second, beautifully done. So this is interesting now to see whether Ibrahim can now keep with him. Liam is on fire.
Shame he hasn't got more time to try and reel in the leader here. The other interesting battle could be Shahin to Ibrahim, but he's probably going to run out of time. 2 minutes to go, I'd say so.
I reckon with 1 minute 50 to go, I reckon they'll get 2 more laps. Now, the reason the 88 didn't finish yesterday, it actually spat off a belt, which runs the oil pump and everything else. Wow.
That's gone in a heavy manner. Is that the same spot Not quite, that we had yesterday. No, it's not.
Lost the wheel.
Oh, goodness me. That has been a big one.
Yeah, that's,
there's more to
two of them.
More to the story here.
They're now Higgin in the Audi
Okay,
there.
be cautious. There's a yellow flag at turn 13, second to last corner.
So this
is that Perez that's stuck in the fence? Now, that could have a big bearing on Brad Schumacher's championship and GT trophy. The other thing to think about here, that car's gone in rather hard. Laurie Schmidt from race control. To his left is Carl Reindler. Keeping an eye on this scenario. We're inside the last minute.
interesting they haven't bought a safety car.
They'll go checkered flag this time by.
That's why.
So they'll be able to control that part of the racetrack with a localised yellow and then get us to the checkered flag. Hey, great drive from Bates, by the way.
Yes, did a great job.
And there
he
it is, as a matter of fact. So Bates wins on the streets of Adelaide, something he's done on so many occasions. Talbot home for second, Ibrahim third. Gee, Talbot got within 1.3 of the leader. Great drive, maybe one more lap and he could have been there. As Bates was 9 seconds slower on that last lap of the race. That's managing a gap. Behind them, Yasser Shahin comes home for fourth. By my math, the championship lead is 17 points to Yasser Shahin. He gets 17 points for a race win. So the championship picture is still very much alive.
Fraser Ross, he's enjoying it.
Yeah, because he knows that they did a fantastic job in keeping that championship together here. Liam Talbot with an inspired drive in the latter part of that race.
Everyone cheering on. There it is. There's the leader, though, Bates. You're right, he did manage that gap to the end, but it was so close. 1.3 between he and Liam Talbot right on the last lap.
Well, he really rolled out of it through the yellow flag sector there, Tony Bates, so just making sure that there was no issue with rolling through the yellow flag zone. So well done to Bates, and in particular, Kelvin van der Linde, who just lit up that racetrack and got himself the lap record at a 1:17.3, which is 9/10 of a second under his lap time yesterday. And driver of the race there for mine was Liam Talbot with an inspired drive late on to keep his championship picture alive at 17 points the difference. Yeah, that was the Perez car in the fence, so Schumacher's championship here could be blown wide open. I wonder how that's going to affect things with Kokonos finishing second in class. So we'll try and see how that championship's going to fight out for the final race tomorrow. Okay, and highlights now of what was a really entertaining second race of the weekend. A race of two halves, and it did have this incident at the start. We saw the Audi and the Bentley go side by side over the curbs, and unfortunately, they didn't come out the other side.
Well, the Audi actually escaped this pretty much unscathed. You can see there just lining himself back up, but yeah, the Bentley, unfortunately, heavy damage in the front of that. So that was the first safety car that we got. And on the restart there, these two were very quick to get up to speed. And then Fraser Ross was keen to get past these two. Weldon did a really nice job defending for a little while, but then at the end, with Bates, he had a nice, healthy gap. And then this was a little bit unusual for Christopher Mears making an error there, which also cost them, also put them on a 10-second penalty in their pit lane, which ultimately was why we were scratching our heads trying to figure out why they lost so much time. But they got a 10-second penalty on top of their penalty they did. Liam Talbot just struggling to get the Audi going behind the GT4.
And then this awesome race to the checkered flag with Liam Talbot chasing down Prince Abubakar Ibrahim in the 888 car. And then late in the race, checkered flag came out for Tony Bates. Did a nice job picking up the race win with Kelvin van der Linde. Van der Linde smashing the lap record of 17.3. Sublime lap time from him. And really entertaining race with Christopher Mees getting that 10-second penalty. It kept the championship alive. And that was quite an exciting race. Well, we'll keep you updated with the scenario down there at the second last corner. Obviously, a big incident. We'll bring you any news that we hear over the next few minutes, but we do need a little break here. We do have Newcastle on the horizon to think about, and also we're going to be turning back the clock to see how Will Davison's year has gone so far in 2022, so stick with us.
Supercars will hit the streets of Newcastle next year in a much-anticipated return to the Supercars calendar. And if past events are anything to go by, you won't want to miss this.
They've hit on the way up,